You're just in time. Saved you a seat for the Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find aimed at male self improvement. And my entire objective tonight is to do my very best to dispel for you a sense of hopelessness that I feel as though is growing at an alarmingly rapid rate across most specifically the younger generations of the millennials, the zoomers, and the alphas. The betas aren't quite men yet, so I believe they can be momentarily left out of the picture. But if things keep going like this, they're headed into the same boat. And it's where your typical average man in the 21st century, kicking it alive, breathing, and well enough that he is alive. Let's just keep it there. In Western society, and I like to try to stick to home, so I will stick to American parameters. And you are most likely living this yourself. I mean, I definitely am. So I'm oh, believe me, I it is not even to give tonight's TED Talk. Another Pillars of Man podcast episode from a high horse, brother. There is no horse. I don't even have one. I promise I am really just shoulder to shoulder with you in this, what is turning into a bit of a debacle for the American modern male. And what I mean is he, or really all of us as men, are enjoying a relatively stable time period of comfort. Okay, of course, the world really wouldn't be the world without some sort of, very suspenseful, chaotic situation on the verge of unfolding. Whether or not it actually does, who knows? I hear, I hear a bunch of young kings nowadays, just mulling over this idea of World War III is about to break out. The end of the world. There was Y2K. There was 2012 with the Mayan calendar and that whole conspiracy. I'm not even sure if that's a legitimate doomsday. I actually, if you know anything about this, please leave it down in the comments below. But I feel as though I actually remember reading something that said people just completely misinterpreted that. The Mayans were not saying that was the end of the world. It was just simply how their calendar ended. Oh, but then you know how the Hollywood execs, where they took it, it was a whole movie. I went to go see it with my friends. I still remember we actually went to the theater to check it out. I remember it being not too bad, you know. And then, with the whole the planet is going to overheat. We're all going to perish in this man-made supernova where the polar ice caps, if that's what they're called, are melting, and the United States is going to be flooded within the next month or something like that. All of these doomsday scenarios, there's always going to be one. That's what I'm trying to say. And there definitely are a bunch of economic, social factors that you don't even really have to think that deeply about. You just take a glance at American society today, and one could find all sorts of problems with that all make a guy not want to participate. You gotta just look at the situation. You're just like, I'm good. No, man, I'm not. I'm not going out there. I don't want to be a part of this. You know, funny enough, you don't even have to. I'll get there. I promise I'll get there. In the very beginning, no, you don't. This is very, this is very exclusive for you. This is all about you. Not to make it, not to condone being very self centered in life. However, to improve one's quality of life and to elevate yourself to just more a more enthusiastic, satisfying situation that is that you can replicate on a daily basis. This is not having a good day. This is having a good life, because your life would be made up of all the days you get to continue to try and do even better than the day before. If that sounds exhausting, I would, right off the bat, I would argue, brother, you are not going about this the right way. That is what's happening. I promise you, it could be way better than it is right now. And the reason why I say that is because it's such an interesting double-edged blade. Whenever I think about this, it's dual. The dichotomy is very real. It's double-headed. It's two sides to this coin, and it's not even really living on one face or the other. It absolutely is both. Okay. And I'll return to an earlier point where I was saying, you, me, all men living along this very normalized, very standardized condition of life, where every single day is filled with, okay, relative stability. I mean, that's electricity, that's running water. You're clothed. I hope you're clothed, bro. And not even because you a freak like that, just because it's maintaining that body temperature for humans to be healthy. That's what I mean. Okay. And just having the internet, having the Wi-Fi, that's probably the biggest, that's the biggest one right there. But okay, Wi-Fi is not going to feed you, so everything else needs to come first, which is, yes, everything I just said, plus the shelter, plus 4 secure walls to protect you from, uh I don't know, what does your neighborhood have that would harm you. Okay. Wild variations of suburban squirrels. I Whatever is dangerous for you is kept away from you, because you're most likely watching me right now in your room or somewhere safe. Yes, I get it, I'm on a screen, but it's wherever you are viewing that screen, you are able to return to this place all the time, every single day, ideally, most likely. And this place houses you and all of these basic necessities of life that are just, they're not really an issue anymore for any man. I know that's a bold statement. Hey, okay, I'm not saying every single American guy is I'm not saying every single American guy is, um how should I say, extremely well off. Okay. There are definitely plenty of men, too many men. I mean, more than one is too many, right? That are being subjected to pretty impoverished conditions of living. But I would say the average, I would say the majority are, nope, just fine. I know. I have not yet brought into consideration the other, what are these laws of existence for the male? I mean, which, yes, of course, his health, his perspective, I think I should put it like that, romantic life, his income, how much and what he does, and all those other factors as well. But I'm doing that on purpose because I want to keep this example. I want to keep this image, at least in the way I'm painting it, as basic as possible. Everything I've said so far are things that you and I, we don't think about these things. I mean, you might. It's again, it's not all men, but I believe I am working with the vast majority in iterating this point. You are most likely a part of that, bro. Everything since you were born. None of these things they've never been an issue. They've never been an issue for me. Oh, well, hey, I'll speak for myself. I'll speak for myself really quickly. Okay, now this is just me, personal experiences, but no, I've never worried about my next meal. I know. I'm really lucky to say that. No, that's just facts. But I believe that you and I live in a world today where there's never been this many American men who have been able to say that. That's what I mean. I mean, even one meal a day is technically enough, but three warm meals a day, okay, and then a secure, structured shelter, wherever you live, okay, wherever you grew up, right, and and clothes and the water, the electricity, all the stuff I already said. Yeah, okay, you're good. I don't. It's never been like that. Please, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of this stuff is very anecdotal, but it's a relatively new quality of life you and I are enjoying in these modern times. Survival has, in this way, in this specific perspective, it's been kind of mastered, has it not? So, with so much less, you know, uh, biological survivability risk to worry about on a daily basis, what would the modern men then have to ponder? And I'll try and start there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That is almost the origin root of the problem. What is there to do? Existentially speaking, oh no, of course, the whole find the wifey, sit her down, have that conversation with her. Okay, how many? We gotta work with a number right here. We'll try to hit it. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. Maybe there'll be more. Maybe there'll be less. But children, but kids, and that's definitely after the wifey. Because without the wifey, that that would be a very difficult, endeavor to pull off by yourself, brother. So that's definitely a wonderful, pretty incentivizing, motivational aspect of life to pursue for any man. Okay. In its absence, though. So when you don't have that and it's out of your control, then what? Oh, it would have to be work. It would have to be your finances. It would have to be whatever going on at your workplace. Is it an office? If it is an office, you might be a 9 to 5er, brother. If it's not, if it's a yard, if it is a, you know, facility, if it is some kind of center, if it is on the go, if you are in a vehicle, if you find yourself in a factory of some sort, then it might be some line of blue collar work, or manual labor, okay, of some kind. Okay, someone has to keep building the stuff society needs, and a lot of men are doing that right now. So that would have to be a source of fulfillment, and just and just a great, I mean, considering you and I are projected to be logging, weekly, yearly hours into until we're 65. No biggie. That's just really most of our lives, most of our natural born lives, if we even make it that far. I hope I do. I'm one of those guys. I'd like to stick around for as long as possible. There's just a lot of stuff I love in this world. I'm really that guy. I don't care how this makes me look. There are all sorts of forms of entertainment. Okay, yeah, no, straight up. Games and anime and shows and stuff like that that I am a big fan of. I'm so curious to see how good this stuff can get way down the line when you and me are old and gray. Unless you are already old and gray, but depending on exactly how gray, you will probably be around for quite a while as well. We're all going to see exactly where this is all headed. And when that's all you have, when when all you have in life is, where am I going? Because there's nothing else that's really grounding for the modern man right now. And any of these guys who are doing just fine in terms of survival, you know, hitting their daily biological needs of bare minimum nourishment. So that's solved, and there's no woman in the picture. Hey, this isn't you. I'm just saying this is a predominant situation for today's world. Given present America, 2025, and he doesn't give a crap about work. The job is not even something that he wants to do. He might even hate it. It might actually be making him miserable, but see, that's the thing about the world you and I live in today. Without money, you have nothing. It's just, I mean, that is not to say money is everything, but it's just very difficult to do anything without, the good old greenbacks. And so you and I mean, that's why they say financial freedom, because until you find it, you and I are enslaved in this way. You got to prioritize it all. The ends must meet or you're in trouble. And you're doing that. Possibly doing something that you don't enjoy at all, that you actually hate, but you do it because, it's nice to be able to survive once again. So, where does that leave most guys? That would leave them in this really weird space where nothing is actually bothering them. This is what's so crazy. I'm talking externally speaking. It's not that being loveless in life is not painful, but it's not going, well, it can. Something like, what is it? Something like 30 cigarettes a day or something like that. You heard about this statistic, bro? Okay. I won't take it there. But no, it isn't something as drastic as an actual, you getting impaled or decapitated, in some way. No, it is not like that. It is just it's much more of a slow burn. Ooh, it's where things get very dull and mundane. And you kind of, everything becomes very robotic, as for however long, a man slowly loses himself to this very zombie-like autopilot, because we're all born into a world where this is the new normal. Okay, survivability is down pat. All right, love life is, for whatever reason, it's not around, it's non-existent at the moment. Okay, and work is very unfulfilling. No, I shouldn't say no, man. That's way too far. I would love. I'm going to hold on to that glimmer of hope. There are some of us out there that actually are enjoying what they do, but for too many, work sucks. And so, what you're left with is this. It's a whole ton of free time to ponder these things. Okay, now, I hope I'm making the image a little bit clearer of how this blade is double-sided. Because on one end you're cutting all the biggest difficulties most of human history had to deal with. You and I don't. Okay, once again, I will speak for myself. No, I've never hunted and gathered before. I've never even fought a wild animal. Hold on. Yeah, no, not like straight up melee, hand to hand. We started like, wrestling. No, I've had encounters, but it never got physical. God bless. Yep. Most of my life has been spent inside, unless I'm outside for some sort of objective that is usually not of my own choosing. That's life. So, it's what I've taken the time to really try and articulate and describe right here. This is the male human experience in the 21st century. And I'll speak for, I believe it. I believe it opens up more subjectively, ambiguously. The older, the higher up you go in age. So I'm definitely speaking for more of a core demographic of millennials, Zoomers, and alphas. And so then you're sitting there and you have all this time to think, and it's just wow, what is there to do? And people wonder, society wonders, the mainstream media wonders, news wonders, women wonder, what? How are so many completely devoting themselves to basically just not going anywhere anymore? Not going anywhere anymore. Just staying in one place, some again, a secure structure with four walls, a screen, a connection, at least a meal, I don't know, a shirt and pants, some running water, some electricity. That's it. That is it. Because that's all you need nowadays to completely to just kind of like plug yourself in and stay plugged in, bro. What you and I are able to perceive, virtually speaking, has become infinite. The male mind has been hacked in this way. You don't have to turn it off if you don't want to. There's no longer there's no kill switch, so to speak, anymore. That's gone. I believe that went a long time ago. Okay, when streaming, went virtual, when everything started to go digital, when YouTube really started, coming into full swing, social media really started to ramp up, and everybody's making a profile now. Okay, it's all, and the speed of it nowadays. If you got 5G, I bet you do, bro. When was the last time you saw something buffer? This is what I mean. It's very instantaneous. So now, because of the speed of that accessibility, what you are porting, you know, your your reality to. Now, okay, if in the sense that reality is perception, not to get too woo woo with it, but I'm just talking about what you're able to hear, see, watch, stare, okay, enjoy, whatever you do on the internet, bro. It's just life can be simply just that. And more men are using that, not because they want to, not that you and I are built for this, but that, okay, I'm going to take it there. Not that you and I are built to live like this, yet so many are because of this. It's half a lifetime of conditioning, and then it's also half they've made it so effortless. You put these two things together, and then it's very easy. It's so frictionless for the male mind to conclude, what else would I do? I don't enjoy any other aspect of life that all of our predecessors tried to find some kind of fulfillment, chasing those grander, you know, those loftier goals of being a man in life. I mean, this is getting into the very dramatic and romanticized objectives of the male human condition. I mean, this is ambition, this is conquest, this is war. Not really. Nowadays, is war even like that anymore, or is it really just, we're all just, on our own side pressing buttons, and hopefully those buttons issue commands more effectively than the other side, and so we win? I don't know. I have no idea. um it's just, there is this saying and this expression that's coming to my mind right now, and I'm sure you've heard of it, brother. Born too late for the exploration of the planet, born too early for the explanation of the cosmos, born just in time, and then insert the joke. Okay, pick, you know what I'm saying, like whatever you want to say. I guess for me, born just in time to see Hollywood break my heart every single time with a new release that I'm realizing is them creating an unnecessary sequel to a movie I grew up with as a kid, or just one of my favorite movies of all time is going to get butchered because for the sake of profit and money, they're just going to make another movie to try and continue it when it really shouldn't have been. All right. How many times has Hollywood done this? Oh, I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. Okay. That's what I mean. And so, I mean, that do you see? This gets very depressing. Okay? And so, we have so many men living in such a depressed state. And it's due to what I believe a misdirection that men are imbued with natural capabilities to test their own struggles, I should say, their own ceilings, okay, and pursuits of intellect and strength and just and yes, adventure and uh, the exploration of what is unknown and unfamiliar, okay, to try and tame the more wild elements of life itself, which is usually along the lines of trying to achieve some kind of dream that you are able to imagine within your own mind that you come up with yourself. Okay, it will most usually, unless it's absolutely absurd, like just ridiculously impossible, which gets blurry, which honestly gets really blurry, because back in the day, wouldn't they say how you and me live today is very impossible? What do you mean? What do you mean see somebody on the other side of the planet instantly and be able to talk to them and hear them and look at them? What do you mean? What do you mean make anything, any kind of image or even video or even a scene or even seeing just something happen or play out? What do you mean? Whatever I can conceive, I can type in and immediately begin to watch that and experience it wherever I am, anywhere in the world. It's crazy. Welcome to the future. Okay, bro. I don't even really need to welcome you, especially if you are a millennial, Zoomer, or an alpha. You don't. The current generations, the current young generations of today, don't even really know a world without it. It's become so normal that I believe men are losing themselves this normalcy. That there needs to be a balance. No, oh no, not even close. I'm not demonizing the modern marvels. You and I, you and I are using, brother. We're using magic. This is magic. It's not, but if do I have an engineer looking at me right now or a tech bro? You could probably break it down for us in the comments below. Only if you want to, no worries. I'm just saying there are men out there that actually understand how my Wi-Fi works and how me talking is even making it to your eardrums. Oh, for sure. There's some guys that can explain it because it's what they do or it's their field or background of expertise or whatever. But for any of us, including me, that doesn't know really anything about how all this stuff actually works, how is this possible? It is magic, bro. A century ago, not even, just take it back half a century. What is half a century today? That's the 70s. That's like groovy, right? And the righteous with all that. Is this not the right time period? I'm pretty sure this is the right time period. Okay. Yeah. Yep. And it was yes, a whole lot of psychedelics and peace and love, brother, which we need a little bit more of nowadays. Like bring that part back, but maybe not the rampant use of very interesting substances, I should say. I'm on the tube, bro. You're gonna have to help me out here. If you know, you know. You definitely know. Even then, I mean, yeah, sure, TVs were around and whatnot. Were they already in color? I'm pretty sure they were. And movies and stuff, like, people were going to the movies and stuff like that. But bring one of those guys. Just have a century ago. 70s. Bring one of them. Put them in an IMAX theater that is state of the art. Just up to today's standards. They'd be like, what? They'd be like, what the? This is crazy. And it is. It absolutely is. What's even crazier, though, is it's almost I see this as an uncontrollable byproduct. It's really not anyone's fault. Okay, sure. Do you have a grand conspiracy you would attribute all of this to? That's fine, bro, if you do. Like that's cool. I'm actually super curious if you want to break it down as for why you believe things are the way they are today. Yet I see it as a direct result of how good the and how unpredictable, okay, technological innovation has done for humanity. And so it's caused so many men who are dealing with very real burden and suffering in life, true pain, I call it, as this is the kind of pain that unites all men, I believe, across all of time. Since men have been around, and for as long as men will ever be around, we will be united in this way. The pain of not being with a loving and loyal love of our life, the pain of not finding success in the way that we want to, that pain of failure, of not fitting in, of being rejected, not having a tribe, the isolation, the male loneliness epidemic that keeps getting thrown around, that has picked up so much traction to the point, oh, the corpos are here, they have arrived, and they are looking to profit. Okay, there will absolutely be a surge of artificial intelligence specifically built and designed to counter this part of how burdensome the male human experience can be when these parts of your life are not working out in the way that you want it to. For how many men is it working out the way that they want it to? And so instead of trying to solve it as all men used to, however successful they were, that's not the point, bro. I don't even want you to look at this as success or failure. Not yet. Okay? And I would much rather you look at it in terms of how much you simply need to have and make the attempt for yourself in life. That trying is everything. That trying creates the possibility. So many of our brothers, they're falling one by one. It's like a domino effect. So many guys are losing themselves, their sanity, their potential, all of it. It's getting kind of a drained and funneled and repurposed into these algorithms that are profiting off of how machines, tech, and companies that create all this stuff have completely understand your average male, setup of desire and temptation. Okay, what need is there to go anywhere? Well, you can press a few buttons, and the food will literally be hand given, dropped off by hand at your front door. Okay, there's even an option in which I don't want any contact with a human being. No, don't call me and ask me to walk to my front door, so I have to go through that super awkward encounter of saying hi and immediately bye to you as I thank you and take my food. No, you can put that in the instructions, drop it off, and leave as fast as you can. So when I go to get it, no one will be around. You can do that, you know? Okay. You can stay inside. Okay. You got the small screen, you got the big screen, you got a mini screen, you have a screen, you're good. You can just use it, you can just stare at it, and it'll give you, artificially speaking, okay, it'll give you these virtual, these fake substitutes of what life should actually be for a man. You know, instead of, what do you mean? What do you mean trying to interact with this world, meet people, and work with people, and try and have these big plans in life and try to build businesses, and companies and whatnot, and trying to add to this world, add value. What do I feel as though is missing from the world, and how would I be able to participate in order to help create it and make it exist for the future generations? There is absolutely none of that. Men have no stake in anything whatsoever anymore, because most of us do not, as the younger generations, do not own anything. When you don't own it, when you don't perceive any type of ownership over it, you don't care. A lot of these young guys, they are brimming with potential. There's so much that they're capable of, that they are able to do. That may never happen, because ultimately it is up to the individual man to make that choice in life. I will pull a greater version of myself out, for myself and the world to experience. Until that choice is made, nothing can really change. And so we're not getting much of it nowadays. What has become so easy to do is what all are beginning to do. And that is the www dot. So how would, you fight back against this? And it's that you have to first understand the answers are not necessarily out there. They are, because you most likely need the internet, which is, if you have it, an incredible tool that will help. It will be maybe even the main, spine of your operation to hold everything up, keep it all together, if you use it in this way, though. And so how it must be used is you have to give it. You have to create the aim, the objective for it. Most guys are not. Most guys are kind of doing whatever it is that they feel like doing with the internet, and so they're being given that. However long they'd like to scroll, however, if you don't press anything, Netflix just keeps playing now. See, that's what I'm talking about. 5 seconds. That's it. Yeah, because they don't want people to think. They don't want people to consider, should I go do something else or should I keep watching? Within 5 seconds, if you don't make that decision, it's made for you. And the next episode plays. And if the season ends, it'll fire up a whole different show. It's seamless. As I said, frictionless, effortless. You have to create the friction for yourself. That's what's going on now. The journey is so much more inwards than it is outwards today, because you don't necessarily need to go anywhere physically or geographically speaking. You need to go somewhere within your own mind. No, bro. This ain't no new age woo-woo. This is the solution and the answer, that I promise. Because it's possible you, or really any other guy that could be in a similar boat, has never really asked himself this question: what do I want to do with myself? That question answers everything, because everything follows after that. You don't have that, you can't figure that out, you can't really do anything. You can't really go anywhere else. Where would you? This is what I mean. There is no purposeful direction to head towards. And so when you answer that one, oh, okay, this is where I'm trying to go. This is what I want to do. Then the path, there it is. Okay, so now the awful truth, I will say, it's awful because it's tough. This one's, it's very painful because most guys, they know. I really do believe that. That's a humble opinion of mine. I could be completely wrong. It's just what my gut tells me. Most dudes, the majority of just men in general, just across the US, 80, 90, might even be higher than 90. That's just where, I'm a little hesitant after 90%, but I'm willing to go up to 90. And that is hundreds of millions, right? Yep. Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure. It's hundreds of millions of men, at least tens of millions. I'm pretty sure it's hundreds. That they know for themselves, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to wake up to this every single day. I want to stop waking up to this every single day. And that's where it gets dangerous. But brother, the moment you do, the moment you want to, okay, that's the moment that everything changes. It's very difficult to want to do anything that you're not genuinely invested in. That you don't care about it. But when you care about it, oh, then you want to be there. You want to try. You want to attempt. You want to throw yourself into it. That's what a lot of guys are missing. That's what I mean. They're not. Where are you going to find that answer? I don't know if you can. It's a search within yourself, in your own internal. You just really got to think about it. It's not even. It's not that serious. It can be very basic. I mean, I say basic because this is just your standard. But basic is not bad. It's just that's the way I'm describing it right now. But what I mean by standard is, yeah, finding love, finding a good woman, achieving financial freedom, having getting in great shape. I know how cliche, how kind of arbitrary these goals sound. But I'll tell you right now, these goals, they give you a path. That's the thing. Because you keep threading it, okay? You keep whittling it, as I say, and so financial freedom turns into, okay, what am I going to do to get financial freedom? And then it keeps going, and then how do I do what I want to do to get financial freedom? And then how do I begin to do what I want to do to get financial freedom? It just keeps going. You didn't need to hear me say that, though. Maybe you did. I believe most guys don't. It's just none of us believe. Most of us don't believe. All the ones who know that they want to be better and they want to do better in life, it is not incapable, weakness, limitation, whatever. It is an inability to rest their sense of belief and faith into the hope. Okay, it might happen, it might not. Doesn't matter if it turns into a way of life that you love, that's going to bring the very best out of you. That's what I mean. That's the beauty of the struggle. You can't have that without struggling, brother. And a lot of guys are saying, I'd rather not. I'd much rather not struggle and stay in the comfort of doing what is killing me. Because I mean, at least this is very familiar. This is very known. This is very habitual. This is very routinal. This is very. I'm just gonna stay here and keep it like this. Life doesn't really open up until you're able to really take that first step and say, okay, I'll try and go for what I am envisioning as my best life. And there's never been a better time to do it. because there's never been such incredibly magical tools to assist you in doing so. It's not, you don't, yeah, there is no kind of credentials you must hit anymore. You don't have to have any kind of resume ready. There are no qualification metrics. You can just start whenever you want to right now. It's free. It's not free, but it is if you're already paying for it. You just gotta go, brother. You just gotta go. You gotta get out of here. You gotta start. And I know how difficult that sounds. I know how impossible that feels. But oh, good Lord, it's that the moment you do, and that's when everything opens up. Possibility itself becomes very real because you're headed towards it. You're headed towards whatever is going to happen to you, and whatever will happen to you will be better than what is happening right now. Because that's the whole reason why you're going. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're headed that way. That really is it right there. And there are so many other things that go into it. I know the information overload and the actual procedures, the systems, the discipline, and the actual the rubric, right? And I'm going to be getting into all of that, as tonight was really more of just an open discussion and a deeper dive into really what is going on in the human modern male mind right now, stopping him from doing exactly what I just said, which is the greatest pathway towards self-actualization in this day and age. It is trying to hit what you envision. And no one can give that to you because it has to come from you. You create it. You're going to think of it. And if you can't think of it, you need to give it time. You need to explore. You need to sift through the options in front of you. And the options in front of you is life itself. That is the power of YouTube, Google, Chat, GPT. Whatever you can conceive. I would say sate that interest and dive into it and see what it will see what you are able to unravel for yourself. And you go from there. You go from there. How to anything you can think of. You'll pull it up. You'll pull it up immediately nowadays. That's the world we live in. It all comes at the cost of how comfortable you are staying at the current state of however potentially miserable life is making you. That's what it really comes down to. I just wanted to take the time tonight, do this deep dive to let you know you are more than capable. You've always been ready. And I really do believe if you're no longer able to enjoy whatever you are subjected to on a daily basis, it just means you're due for change. It just means it's time to go. It's time for you to really get going. Where? Towards your best life. And I'll be right here to help you every step of the way as I kind of talk about anything and everything that goes into male self-improvement. As you're watching The Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find aimed at male self-improvement. I'm your host, Kumo. I continue to attempt to reshape the modern male reality, giving any man who wishes to pull the very best out of himself a way to do that. Brother, thank you so much for watching tonight. Vibe and chilling with me, checking all this stuff out. You like content like this, hit that subscribe button for me. And I hope to see you for the next one real soon. Same time, same place, right back here. But until then, take it easy. Take good care of yourself. And I love you so much. Peace.